back for another The Mad Awesome Show, where we said we weren't a monthly podcast, but here we are, almost exactly 1 month later. Tila, how you doing?
Good, man. I've been missing this. I ain't gonna lie. This 1 month thing ain't working out.
Yeah, and it's just the consistent perfect storm of things happening, and I've been really sick for the last couple of weeks. But one of the nice things about this is we're going to be able to talk about, and we might just as well jump into it. We're going to be able to talk about the crate raid with really like a fuller perspective. Like the rewards have already gotten figured out, the team comps have already been kind of nailed down, all the bug fixes are pretty much done. We have kind of this interesting opportunity to have a fuller view of the raid than trying to digest it piece by piece by piece, because there were a lot of things with it, and I guess I'll go ahead and give my opinion right away. Like I'm pretty positive about it. Like I've been really happy with most things that have come out of that development. So yeah, Tila, we'll start right into it. What do you think of the crate raid?
I actually really like it. I'm not the biggest advocate when it comes to PvE. I like PvP a lot better. aka territory battles. I hate them, but I don't hate them, but it's not my favorite. But the raid I really like. I mentioned it a couple places too. It gives us something to do constantly, and that's what I wanted in game. Obviously, we have a set amount of times we can attack it, but you can attack it within what 3? Is it 3 days? Two and a half?
Yeah, it's a 3-day timer. It's like 2 hours and 23 hours or whatever.
Yeah, so you got a 3-day time period to do it whenever you want. You can space them out. You can do your Java team first, and then you can go down the list, do the Mandalorians later. But it gives you something to always do in game, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably sit here and make a pros and cons list, but that is really one of the big pros to it, and it's something that I've been kind of harping on CG for a while about in regards to what their new content is. They've done this in almost every regard, but there's still a few lingering things out, and I'm looking at you, Fleet Arena, where I want everything in game to have at least a time span of 24 hours to do it. Like it just makes it a lot simpler, where I have a job where I can't really spend a lot of time on my phone, so I have to do it essentially at one time during the day where I actually sit down and play. And then we'll need to talk about time in game later, but now, if need be, I can do the raid, do conquest, do GAC, and TW. Well, kind of TW and TB all in the same block. Like I can do them separately. That's also an option. So there's a lot of flexibility, and I think that really enhances the overall viability for each player, rather than being tied to one specific time. And you either get it awesome, or you don't, and screw you. So. That's definitely a big plus.
And Blackfire in the chat's bringing up a good point too. He says, the game is now like a full-time second job. I could definitely see that, and like this week especially, like we feel that grind. But the only good thing, it's like Calvin was saying, it's like as long as they give us enough time, we can make time. It's a game we all enjoy. We're playing it for a reason. As long as it's not like the old school raid where you had like 15 or 20 minutes to hit it, and then you would get stuck with bad rewards or be at the bottom. This gives you at least a 3-day window to hit this. So you're gonna have time in those 3-day windows to actually participate in it.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, so I guess we can pivot maybe back to the crate raid, but time in game is finally a problem for me. Like it is too much. So, and it's not really a crate raid problem specifically, I wouldn't say, because like you're saying, the 3-day time span is honestly pretty cool and whatnot, but there's just too much, and I genuinely enjoy all of it. Like I don't think of, and this is weird, I don't think of conquest as a chore. I actually genuinely enjoy conquest. I love the actual playing of the raid, and I think it might get old here shortly, but we're in a pretty sweet spot right now, or at least I am, where I'm not in the I don't know anything, this kind of sucks, my scores aren't good. And I'm also not in the place that we were with Heroic Sith Raid, where it was just like, gosh, I guess I'll do SLKR again for literally the 100th time. So we're at a point where it's rewarding, because I'm now having to figure out all the mechanics, both between the raid and between the teams that I'm using. and I'm getting higher and higher scores every time, and it's a good feeling. Like I am enjoying the raid a lot as of like right now, but time in game it's bad. Like I came home from work yesterday. I got home at like 5 or so. Pretty much immediately started playing and just started autoing everything. Not the raid or like Reva, but like a lot of TB, a lot of conquest. I was just autoing. And dude, I was like no content creation. I was on my computer until 9 o'clock. Like it's a lot, and I was okay. I was really okay with the you can just auto it, like that whole line for a long time. But my gosh, I'm autoing like 60 battles a day. It's a lot of time babysitting.
And because it goes with a good point we had last podcast when we talked to Meathead, that sim button on Conquest would come in so clutch right about now.
Yeah.
Being able to do that, obviously we would need to get a red crate first. You would still have to engage, but that would just cut our time in half, big time. But I'm right there with you too. Like anywhere I can kind of get an edge not to play a little bit, I'm taking it. Like no shade. Hopefully nobody in port except for you is here. But like TB this round.
Oh, some of them definitely. If they're not listening right now, they'll be listening later. But I'll fully admit it here. Sorry, bro. Like I auto like 90% of my battles.
Half the time I don't do them because we already preloading or we already got 3 stars, and I'm habitual. Just within the last 2 or 3 hours, I'll do my TB battles. It's just that's the time it works out for me. But it works out because every once in a while we'll have it all done, and I'm like, okay, I guess I don't even have to deploy. We're good.
Well, and I don't feel bad, and I also am not afraid to admit that because I haven't done my battles today, and I'm number 10 for waves. So I'm not like going in autoing for zeros. I think I very consistently get 2s and 1s.
On the waves, I should start doing that too. I could start hitting it a little bit earlier if I auto it.
No, yeah, well, I've been doing this for a while now, probably before port, but I've gotten to this point because I literally have to do it. Like if I have nothing else going on in the evening, and I mean nothing, then I auto it and I'm done at 9, and then I can make 1 video, and then I can go to bed. Like that's my schedule. So if I have to do these battles manually, I don't get to make videos, and I don't get to do anything else.
No, I can 100% see it. And it's not like the battles aren't bad either. Like I enjoy doing the TV battles, but it's just like, I don't know. I need a break somewhere. It's a lot of stuff.
Well, and if I had more free time, I actually would enjoy it. Like one of the things, the one battle that I have been doing manually, obviously besides Reva, I figured that would probably go without question. But the one that I have been doing manually because it is too fun for me to auto is actually Trench. Trench is really fun in the new TB, especially on Dathomir, because you have like multiple ways. You have a ton of survivability, and then multiple ways to stop revives. That team is pretty fun. Like I did that, I think manually. I guess I probably did it the one day, but I've been doing Trench multiple times.
I still haven't put gear into Trench. I was saving it for Reva and saving it for other stuff too that I kind of wanted to gear up first. And I wanted to see how he performed too, but he looks interesting. He was a menace on defense with certain comps in 5v5.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you waited this long, you probably just don't use him because he is right now. My solidified opinion on him is that he's going to be. His comp is going to be worth doing while he has the Datacron. The second he loses the Datacron, that team is not worth it anymore. Like it is just barely worth using. At least in GAC, TW might be a different story, but like it's beating targets just high enough with the Datacron that is able to excuse putting Watt and Newt on it, and there's no way that's going to stay after it's gone.
Yeah, and that's the one I ran into is that Watt Newt team, and that was absolutely disgusting. Yep. Kind of stonewalled me. When they don't have Watt in there, that's just Wappa food all day.
Yeah, and it is really interesting how that works actually. And there's actually been some times where even in 3v3 I can afford that pretty well And in fact, it bit me in the butt one time that I didn't do it. I had C on offense, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll probably use C with Watt, so I'll leave GBA on defense and like GBA Dooku, and I'm sure that'll be fine." Not only is that Separatist comp weaker or that trench comp weaker, but my opponent placed JMK, who lo and behold, you don't use Watt for JMK, you use GBA. So yeah, so all I have to say, Trench with Datacron, very good, worth it. Trench without Datacron, you probably don't even bother.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, so we pivoted pretty hard off the raid, and I guess we can come back now. So you like it? Is that what you said?
I like it a lot, and I like the aspect that it's you have to take in multiple teams. Like you're going in there fresh every time. There's never going to be a situation where you just have SOKR and you could just do the whole raid with one team. And it's just a matter of everybody getting the exact same score, and it's just random who gets number one. Like this one, you put the investment, you put the time, you learn the comp, you learned your mods and how your battles operate, and it really pays off effort, and I like that. Obviously, I'm probably not going to ever hit number one, especially in our guild. Like some of these guys have ridiculous sets of the teams needed, but I'm glad it rewards those people that put the effort into the raid. I feel like that's a lot more fair than just having one team go in there and it's equal to everybody else.
Yeah, well, so that's yeah, the whole other thing is the way it is structured compared to how every other raid was structured, where it was you competing against your guild rather than almost like I really like the model of competing against yourself. And they even made it pretty visible in this current raid where you go in and it shows you where your last previous attempt was, so you can try to like outdo yourself this time, or like you can kind of see what you need to upgrade. And I've heard a lot of complaints, not a lot. I've heard a few complaints about people not liking how much CG is essentially putting this raid in a box, because they're saying, all right, not only you can only use these factions, you can only use these many attempts, and you can only get this high in scoring. But I don't know if it's just like my accounting personality, but gosh, I love boundaries and like limitations on stuff. Like it just makes it so clear from a planning perspective. It tells me exactly what I need to do. It's just a lot easier, and I don't. I'm glad that it's not just finding out what the broken team is or the broken cheese team is. Like the Jedi, like I use the Jedi Anakin Nices thing, and I loved it for the time being. But I really like looking at my roster and saying, all right, if I take you, and you to R8, specifically the Jabba team, I am guaranteed one more reward thing, and I don't have to worry about what anyone else in the guild is doing. I don't like that. It does matter for the overall track, and that's true. But like that will not stop me from getting one more impulse detector per raid if I make this investment. So that part is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then I like it too. It's like I like that there's strategy to it too. Like you can have the same team, but it's your mods, the way you play into it too. Like me, just even playing it a couple times, like I learned the process that I like for my roster. I like using the basic on the bombs first with my Boba, then going in there with Jabba using his basic, and then just kind of repeating a process to always hit that top number. And it's funny too. I like the RNG aspect of it too, with the crits, like depending on how you mod your guys. I've done it to where I've gotten the max crate first try, but I've done it where I have messed up, and I've done it 6 times and I haven't even got the max number. And I like that it gives you the option when you're in a hurry. For instance, I got close enough, I can submit it. Or you can go in there, do the retry too of the process. It's not like the old raids where you would have to go in airplane mode and take it back, or depending on whatever you had to do. It's an in-game process. You stay in the app, and it lets you restart the process too. I like that too. And it's not time restraint to where you're stressing out. It's like, oh my goodness, if I back out now, I'm not going to get those max rewards. You can go in there, take your time, do it right. I don't know. I like this, the way the raid operates, a lot better than the old system.
Well, it's really cool that what we're talking about right now. It's not even. I mean, so you mentioned like raid mechanics and whatnot, but a lot of this, the 3 day limit, the not competing against your guilds, having very clear expectations or whatever. That's gonna be consistent with every raid that we get from now on. Like that's not. Those aren't specific to the crate raid. Those are all part of this new system where the factions are going to change, sure, and they might even change what your max score is, or what team, or not, well, yeah, what teams you can take in, or maybe they might even change how many teams you can take in if they try to do more factions or something like that. They want people to build more, but yeah, all that's going to be like consistent and is going to stick around throughout other raids. So yeah, I big win, and I agree with you on mechanics too. I think the raid is very very fun from both what is happening on the field with like the mines and whatnot, but also I really like all how the match changes, and you kind of have to relearn the same phase maybe 4 or 5 different times with different factions, because one of the most important things for most of the factions is being able to have a bomb ready so that you can cleanse everything as soon as you get the venom or whatever. Jawas dispo themselves. You don't need to do that. Like, you really don't. Like, you can, just so that people don't have it when they're assisting or whatever, but that's not crucial to their run. So that part I really like, because what I feel like what that does is, whereas the old raids they had like 4 different phases that we all had to kind of learn out. CG only really had to make one phase, but they still made like 5 variations of one puzzle. So it still involves a lot of interaction. It still involves a lot of learning, but it doesn't, without all the hard work and labor for them, and not like the strenuous thing of us having to sit through 4 phases or whatever.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I really like the model of this whole raid in general. Like it opens it up for so much creativity with the developers. Like I bet you this was so much easier for them to make than the old type of raids that they had to do. And then at the same time, it creates it to where you're forcing people to invest in the teams that they want, which they probably like too, where it's not just one singular team. And then on top of that, it's like I bet you they're going to have better turnarounds when it comes to raids. Having the same aspect, they can use big animals or beasts from Star Wars lore going on to the next one, having a whole new set of teams. And it also gives people an opportunity to build up too. Like if they have the next one be the next step of this evolution of raid, or even have them do it around the same thing. I don't know. Like I really, really like this aspect of the raids. I think they're going to have a lot more creativity and a lot better turnaround than they did before.
Oh, definitely, 100%. I think we even we can pull up old, like really old interviews with CG around the time that Heroic Sith Raid came out, and they put a lot of work into the Sith Raid. It was towards the beginning of the game, and one of their big complaints was, and they didn't release this until maybe a year or two after, when we weren't getting any raids. Like, why aren't we getting more raids or whatever? It seemed like they were really kicking off, and CG's response was, "You beat it in significantly less time than it took us to develop it." And what that told them, and what that tells me, is that's not a sustainable model. Like I couldn't do that in my job, where I do a lot of reporting and reconciling. And if it takes me longer to reconcile something than in the time that it happens, I will never get it done on time. And I will never be caught up. That's not sustainable. You have to be able to, you can't bite off more than you can chew. And again, that's where having one phase in a limited number of factions, not only do we actually get a raid, but we should be able to get them much faster, because I've been doing a little bit of math, and I had to do this I did a video about the best 5 teams you want to develop for the raid. And as it currently stands, there isn't a combination of teams of 5 teams that is able to hit the max score. So we're still having this has been out for a month or so, and we're still having to figure it out. And I think ultimately, in my belief, the final puzzle pieces to this are probably going to be Omicrons on, if I had to guess, probably the Jawa team, and maybe even one of the old Republic teams.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Speaking of Omicrons, did you take advantage of the reduced price on Bausch Omicron for the raid?
Yeah, I got Bausch on sale. I did. I really, really wanted to do it. I'm like, it's still 10, like it's still 10 Omicrons. But the thing is, I had budgeted for it. Like I had specifically saved that amount. I'm like, all right, I had four. I had four Omicrons. I'm like, all right, I got one for Boosh. I got one for TW because our guild wants us to do that. And I had one for Afra and I had one for Riva. So I'm like, all right, I have it. We don't really have all the information about this raid yet. I would much rather get it now and find out I don't need it later than not get it now and find out I want it later. And I've been leveling it up. And what I've realized is it's done two things for me. A, I don't have to R8 Scando. I don't even have to R7 Scando, but I also don't have to remod and still hit like max scores. So I don't regret it. I don't know if I'd recommend it at full price. It depends on what you're having to get instead of it, but I do not regret it all. And so like, it's still like my only true loser Omicron right now is Luminara. Like the rest, even it's like Asajj even, in like this last 3-3, like she bailed me out a few times. Like that one's been pretty clutch.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I'm a little bummed that I didn't. I missed the window to do it. I was debating back and forth, but the reason I didn't do it, it was like Riva getting her Omicron or having to wait a little bit. So I don't know if I'm going to end up kicking myself in the foot for that one, but it is what it is. We'll see how it goes at the end of the day.
So, all right, Tila, what are you doing Omicron wise? Like, so I know we've been asked this before. Like, I think we've been asked twice this. Like, what Omicrons we get? You don't have TW Omicrons. You don't have raid Omicrons. You definitely don't have TB Omicrons. Like, you've got to have like, I guess full judgment now. You've got to have some crappy GAC Omicrons, right? Like, if you're running that low, or how many do you have in stock right now?
I just gave Riva, and then I have half of one. So, and I was thinking of putting on Afra when I get her. But
you gotta have something bad. Like, what do you have that's not good?
No, I pretty much got all the good ones, maybe.
I'm gonna roster us right now. I'm gonna pull up your Omicrons. I'm gonna find something I don't think is good. This will be funny.
I think the worst one would maybe be TIE Pilot, but I like that one.
Oh no, I like his actually. He's really good in three. He's saved my butt multiple times in threes.
In threes, but in fives it's not as strong. But in threes, I love that mess so much. But
yeah, even in fives, though, like that, I don't use it a whole lot now, but it's team. Oh, okay. All right, so I think I found what I'm gonna shame. You have, and I'll get a lot of flack for this one. You have all three of Malgus's.
I do and that's what I got a little trigger happy. I got excited about that one. I even have all three of Ben's too.
Yeah, so Ben's, I would definitely like. So I'm a pretty hardcore advocate that Ben needs to.
Yeah, me too.
Like Ben needs to, like the healing immunity immediately knocks off a handful of counters, and the anti-revive knocks out a different handful of counters. So like those are good. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I would say sucks. Yeah, I wouldn't go as far to say sucks, but like, what is it? No, it's not Force Dyad. It's not Redeemed, and then yeah, Malgus' two other ones. Those three are all pretty luxury.
Yeah, no, I got those ones, and then the under protection, I got Hondo's, Omicron, Wampas. I have only one a Star Killer, which is weird. I have Chrysanthemums, Dashes, Zams, Treyas. I pretty much have them all except for the ones that are really, really bad. I got Qui-Gon.
Yeah, I mean, so the Night Sister ones are debatable, but you don't have Marin, so that's kind of whatever.
I'll eventually get hers, and I really, really want. And that was my next Omicron, possibly is.
You don't have. I mean, it's not a hardcore need, but you don't have Adrads either.
No, and that's one I always debate on when I have an extra Omicron. But it's like I always have something else that I'm planning for. Like for instance, right now it's Riva, and I think I'd rather have Zoris before Adrads, to be honest, too.
I'm curious, do you, I guess I'm going to keep digging deeper here. Do you miss GCs or something like that?
I do.
I was going to say, because I'm like, I feel like I don't know how many you have 18 Omicrons and you're in a position where you can't apply any right now.
Oh, I got
Yeah, I think I have
items.
quite a few more than you, Tilo.
You probably do, to be honest. Like, and this is the problem because I am always last minute, and you could probably go ask Go Cubs or any of the of the leadership in port. I'm always the one of the last people to do anything in there. And TW, TBs, doesn't matter what it is. I always put it to the last burner, and I do that with my GCs, and sometimes I forget, which is not good. I'm gonna start hitting those early because it's really not been beneficial at all.
Yeah, I'm not to like really drive this home on you or be mean or anything, but Tilo, I have 6 more available Omicrons than you do.
Damn. Yeah.
That's a big number.
I knew I missed some, but I didn't know I missed that much.
Yeah. What was I gonna? I was gonna say. Oh, I will say it is a little bit nice, as a guildmate to hear what you said about like you're not just last minute on guild events. You're last minute on everything. Because it reminds me of my wife. So like me and my wife are pretty consistently late to church, and my wife was like feeling really convicted about it. Whatever. She's like, "We're not late to anything else." I just laughed, and I'm like, "We're late to literally everything. Like this is not like personal or like that we don't care about our church or something like that. We are literally late to every single event we have to go to."
No,
So
100%. Same here. Like, I don't even want to say it because it's a little bit crazy, but we always run on CP time. Like it's always. My wife's black, that's why. So we like always are. Like, I'm always like, girl, you always run on CP time, but I think it rubbed off on me.
well, so I say that it's not that you're a bad guildmate. You're just late on everything.
Everything. I try not to, but it is what it is.
But okay, so that was a fun time. Thank you for humoring me, Tilo.
No, you're good.
But yeah, no, getting back, I think we covered the raid pretty well. I think the only thing we didn't mention, I think we were very overwhelmingly positive, and I think that's probably kind of cool. Rewards is probably the only thing that we could have ever like been really negative about because they sucked when this first came out. Like terrible, absolutely terrible transition. But that being said, they kind of fixed it. So what's your take on rewards now?
I liked them, and I liked even the process before they fixed it. Not for the aspect of what we were getting, but I like the aspect of we can choose exactly what we want instead of them randomly generating what we could get. And I know it wasn't anywhere near what we were getting from the old system before they did the changes, but I like that we get to choose exactly what we could get. And now with the changes, I really like the rewards. Like they pull me out of pinches, especially when I'm farming those characters or gearing up like a specific character I want, or even relic materials now too. Like it's helping me big time when it comes to this salvage. So I'm really liking where the rewards are at right now.
Yeah, one thing that is really fun about the rewards, and this wasn't really a thing that was happening beforehand, like before they fixed them, but you can buy obnoxious quantities out of the store at once instead of having to sit there and cherry pick your 5 stun guns and then come back to make sure you can get them the next time and never miss a single entry of that or whatever. You scroll to the bottom and buy 125 in one setting and then go apply to it's kind of dumb, but it's also like just a little bit of quality of life niceness. But yeah, I think it was very necessary that they fixed them beforehand because there were a lot of like 250,000 or 250 million GP guilds out there that had all the previous raids beat, like CPIT, whatever, and they had they had as much of an income as me or you had, as in like a 500,000, like double their guild size. And then this happened, and I think we were probably still breaking even because we were in the 130 million score or whatever. But all of them got royally screwed, like really bad. Like they didn't even break even; they got a huge downgrade. And then like the characters that were previously like very accessible became not accessible. So yeah, they botched it all over the place. But I think it's essentially fixed now.
Yeah. And Mary Jade's bringing out a good point. It's like you getting a full piece in the raid was nice in the old system, but he also says it in the second half. He's all, how often does that really happen? It's nothing. It's nice when it happens, but it's like, how often does it really happen? Where this, you can consistently get the materials and the currency, and you can buy exactly what you need. Like, it's super nice. I like this a lot. And like you said too, like, I'm glad that they fixed it, because that would have really sucked for the newer people or newer players to the game with lower GP guilds, because it's like, first they take away squad arena, take away crystals, and then they would take the rewards from the raids also. Like, it really would slow down the progression when it comes to the early game and the mid game. So I'm glad that they kind of went back and they kind of fixed that for them.
Yeah, no progression system should ever go backwards. That literally makes the whole thing an oxymoron. And that was my, I guess, not to air out old dirty laundry, but that was my like big problem. That when they came out with GOTB, they went back to Hoth and they cut the shards that you got for for IPD and Rolo in half, and I'm like, you should have done the opposite. Like, I get, like, Geo comes out and you want to cut the cam and watch shards in half before they come. That's fine. Like, that's a new character. That's a new thing. But they went back and they did that. I'm like, that's really dumb. Like, characters should not be getting less accessible as the game goes through. Like, you had no like business touching that. But anyway,
even Wampa and Hoda, like, I feel like they should be way more accessible than what they are now. Like, you should be able to buy them for way more crystals or way more shards than they are now. Like, all those.
I think the only nice thing is they have, and it's kind of weird saying it because I don't spend crystals on that type of stuff, but at least they've made those characters accessible via crystals now. I think someone was telling me, like, even Malik and Gas can be bought in like the weekly store or something like that now. So you don't have to get them through Get One, which is such a limited currency.
Yeah, and that's what they should do. Even like the old school raids, like, they want everyone to participate in their new stuff. I really wish they would like increase almost what they do with character shards, start doing double drops on all this stuff, and really just speed up that early game process.
Yep. All right. Yep. So overall, Crate is, I mean, honestly, like, so I'm not that hard to please. Like, I'm pretty simple, but for the raid overall, everything right now, it's probably a 10 out of 10 for me. The only thing I don't like is that it takes up more time, but that's not really a Crate problem. That's we have to do dailies, Fleet Arena, GAC, Crate, TB, Conquest, like, all like within the same couple of days. Like, there's no real breathing room, and I can think of little solutions like simming the whatchamacallits, and I think they could really condense dailies. I don't think dailies need to take 10 to 15 minutes to do. There should be, like, just make it just needs to be a button at this point. Like, let me get rid of all of that. I don't want to have to do a squad arena battle anymore. I want Fleet Arena to be dead too. I guess there's a handful of things they can do, but I mean, I guess it's a little bit nickel and diamond. If I still have to do Conquest, TB, and the raid all in one day, like, that's still going to be a solid 2 hours in game.
Would you separate it or change any of the dates of the existing events, like the TB or any of that stuff?
If they would somehow let us restructure rewards, yeah. That's the issue. Is I don't see them giving us less content without giving us less rewards. So I think the most I can ask for is just to kill the old game mode and redistribute the rewards elsewhere, like they did with Squad Arena.
No, I'm saying like this week. This week is like to coin Xerath and Solo, like, Hell Week. Like, we're doing TB, we're doing Conquest, the raids. Would you change the date of anything? Like, would you do Conquest separate from the TB? Like, change those weeks? Or, because I know we have TW too, so it kind of makes everything hard.
Yeah, I don't think there is a solution to move the dates around, because there's always, I think, almost at all times. So the raid is kind of out of this, because I think the raid is pretty much going to be consistently running. Like, you do it for 3 days, And whatever you do it, and then as soon as it's done, the new one starts. So that one's almost kind of on a permanent cycle, which is whatever. Because again, you pick the time in 3 days to do it. It's not that bad. But like the other ones, there's always two things going. I don't think there's a time when two things aren't going, and if it is, it's like a day, and that's just a transition from one thing to the other. So I don't really think there is a way to move things around so that we don't have at least two of these things going on at the same time.
Yeah, for sure you're gonna have a raid going, but I wonder if like the real exhaustion is like TB and Conquest together. But I don't know if that's that much of an exhaustion because like TB you can get done relatively quickly. It's just I think it's just Conquest is the grind that makes everything else hit a little bit harder.
Yeah, so I don't think they can avoid it because we always do 2 TBs every month and they don't touch. So that's 2 weeks that have to be spread out in some cadence. And then we do Conquest for also 2 weeks, but that one's condensed. So they can't come up with a system where they rotate in and out because one is going to always end up overlapping the other. And I mean, even if they stack TB at the very end of the beginning of the month, then you just end up with essentially a 14-day TB because the end of the month, at the beginning of the month, spoiler, they touch. The end of July is going to hit the beginning of August. So there's, I don't think there is a way they can rearrange the date so you can't have two things going on at the same time.
Yeah, that's tough. Oh man. Yeah, and I can only imagine like the higher end guilds like having TB or TW and Conquest at the same time. Like that would be disgusting for them. Yeah, that's tough. They're probably just stuck the way they are.
Yeah, Fleet Arena needs to die. Fleet Arena needs to die, and parts of Conquest need to be simmable, and that would help.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I would be okay with parts of TB being simmable too, though.
Like
if my guild's gotten 9 stars 100 times, maybe don't have us do phase 1 anymore.
Yeah. Oh, well, phase 1's kind of like simmable, anyways. Like you could auto
but
that.
It goes back to the point of like I don't want to do 70 simmable battles a night. Like that within itself is kind of a pain in the butt.
Or Calvin, you could just wait.
Autoable.
Just wait. Let everybody else do it. Not just play.
The Tila way.
I'm just playing, guys. If Go Cubs is listening to this, so I'm just playing, man.
I always spoke truth. Sorry, Go Cubs. No, all right. So I think we covered the raid overall pretty well. So we've talked about this a little bit, but Tila, what's been going on your roster? How's your leg day been? What are you working on? What are you going to work on? Oh, I know where this is going.
So I got Reva. So I'm super excited. I got her to R8. Give her the Omicron on the lead. So it's nice going into 5v5. I can't wait to put her on defense and see what she's able to do because I don't have Grand Inquisitor and I'm just waiting for his event to come out. I was talking to Zareth earlier and we were talking about the Nuggets and the Lakers, but he's the one that started talking about me not having the Grand Inquisitor. So I was like, hey, you'll probably get a kick out of this. I sent him the screenshot of the Grand Inquisitor event, and the first one there is Reva, and then all the other Inquisitors. So Reva's going to help me unlock Grand Inquisitor. So it should hopefully make the event a lot easier, but it just kind of sucks that I don't have him for GAC this upcoming week, unless they just somehow bring him out tomorrow, maybe, hopefully, which would be awesome.
You're going to frustrate so many of your opponents.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're going to see the team, and they're just going to have no idea what actually beats it. Because no one in the right mind in 5v5 was leaving Grand Inquisitor off of Reva. And you're probably... I haven't seen another... You're probably one of the first people who has this weird phenomenon. Because all the guilds that were hardcore enough to get it earlier than us, they probably had like mandatory attendance. So... Yeah, people are going to go into like GAC Insight thinking like, oh, this is such a good tool. GAC Insight is a really good tool, by the way. This is not a joke on them. This is a joke on Tilo. People are going to go into like GAC Insight like, oh, how do I beat this really abstract team? We left out GI, so I probably unlocked like 3 counters, and they'll go in there and it's been like seen 0 times.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. It's all a part of the plan, guys. I'm just trying to throw off people in GAC. Like, this is all working out the way it's supposed to.
All very long, planned out strategy.
Oh yeah, we're playing the long game right now. We're like Thrawn right now. We're totally like 5 steps ahead of everything. No, but so
So
we
have
have.
you done anything else in the last month? Did you build up any of your teams for Crate? What are you doing?
Well, I gave Boosh a boost in relic, so she's no longer R7, she's R8.
Oh wow.
I got my Lando, Guard Lando to R7. So that was just for the raid, and it helps me out. Like I know you can like 2-man it, 3-man it, or 3-man it or 4-man it. I mean, in the raid with the Omicron, but I don't have that. So it's been helping me out big time, especially when he can pass the turn to Jabba, and it just helps speed up the process of getting his ultimate back. Other than that, I've been farming really hard on the droids and Sana. So Sana is already 7 stars. The droids are 6 stars right now. So just need a few more shards and they'll be ready to go. And I just have to gear them. And Zori. Zori is, what is she? 5 stars? Right about to be 6 stars too. So I can't wait to have her up and running too. That team is disgusting. Just super nasty. So yeah, that's the stuff I've been working on lately.
Yeah, no, Zori actually did quite a bit for me in threes, even at gear 11. And it's gonna be interesting how I restructure my teams. I guess it won't be that interesting because she'll still be gear 11. But was currently using her kind of weaker resistance team with my gear being down as filler for instead of my Mon Mothma team, which was just really bad. But I'm gonna have Aphra this next time, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what other team. It might be my Phasma team. I've been running like a Phasma crew first order TIE pilot. It's actually been pretty decent, but that probably gets swapped out now.
Yeah. No, yeah. I don't know. I was gonna see how are you on Cal Kestis? Are you is that in your focus?
Oh, I have not touched anything on Cal in a long time. So I have like 4 different priorities floating out there right now that I'm working on, and none of them involve Cal.
What are you prioritizing above him?
So right now, number 1 is Aphra. Aphra, I could actually, if I have like super good RNG, I could have Aphra tomorrow. Probably won't. I need 5 shards of BT1, so I mean I could get it tomorrow. But as soon as he's done, she's hitting. And I'm gonna have to figure out my life in regards to her too, because I only have 4 Zetas right now, and I don't have any of hers or any of the droids. So, and I think there's 5 total. So I'm gonna have to figure out which one isn't that important to do for a week or so. But she's priority number 1. Priority number 2 is having everything up and running for Reva, because Reva, I don't have Reva yet. I arrived a little bit late to the party there, but I'll get her next time. But then I still have to be ready for her, and she's also gonna probably need 3 Zetas, which I won't have. I might have 2 or 1. So I'll have to do all. So I'm trying to prep for her, and then I've been trying to do a lot of the raid stuff too. Like I'm pretty keen on. I kind of mentioned this earlier when we were talking about the raid. I really like the idea or the concept that the rewards are super tangible. I can look at my roster right now. I can see if that team goes from R7 to R8, I will immediately hit this new thing, and in X amount of days, I will make back the resources I spent. And then I'll also have, an R8 Java team or whatever it is. So I've been doing a lot of stuff with that. I've been trying to get my Jawas up to all gear 12. I got all my Mandalorians to R5. I got all of my Hutt Cartel up to R7. I'm gonna push that Hutt Cartel to R8. I'm gonna keep, I'm pretty gung ho on the raid stuff right now. I'm gonna keep upgrading stuff until I can't. And even Tuskens, as soon as my chieftain hits 5 stars, I'm gonna speed through Warrior, so I get her to 5 stars so that I can start using them. But yeah, so a lot of raid stuff, and then somewhere in the back of my head, I'm gonna try to be ready for the Leviathan too. So that's priority number 4. So I'm at a point where I'm super caught up as far as end game goes. But I've got 4 things in front of me that all beat out Cal.
Yeah, it's like I feel caught up but not caught up. Like it's weird. It's a weird position because I'm right there with you. Like Aphra is going to be something tangible pretty quickly. Those shards are going to be coming, but It's Cal too. Watch. Cal's gonna be nasty. I have a funny feeling, and we're gonna want to change our focus too. But at the same time, I'm right there with you too. Like this raid is gonna be interesting. It gives pretty good rewards. I want an upgraded Java team, anyways. Like I want R9 on Crescent in for GAC. I want these guys to benefit from relics, and Java is like Lord Vader. The higher relics on the team, the better it's going to perform. So it doesn't hurt me to invest in them. Where it does kind of scare me though is like Tuscans, for instance. Tuscans, we've seen that they need to be at like an R7 level, R8 level to really
Yeah,
put out those max rewards. So I'm wondering, do I even go for that? Am I willing to make that investment into them? Or do I just roll with what I got and just focus down on some GAC stuff? Because if you don't have them at R7, what do you get? Like 400K?
Yeah, it's not good. They
Yeah.
and for anyone who's listening, the reason why is because when you go up in difficulty, there are some other factors that kick in, and one of the factors that kick in for Tuscans is they get extra bonuses at R7 and R8 that not only does your damage ceiling go higher, so it's possible to get a better score, but you actually practically can get there. So yeah, like R5, like I'll probably start at R5 Tuscans and see what I can get. But there's a
Yeah.
very good chance they go to R7 too.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those teams where it's like R7 or bust if you're going to invest into them. And they're fine too for GAC. Like it's a team that I would want for my GACs anyway. So it's not something that super hurts, but it is something that's going to be considerably heavy to invest in, especially with everything coming out. Like you said, the Leviathan and Cal. So I really want to see Cal's kit, and I really want to see the Leviathan's kit before I make an investment into the Tuscans. And Jawas aren't even doing anything, right?
So people with max Jawas, the highest that they can do is like 1.5 million, and that's like perfect conditions, perfect
Yeah,
modding, perfect RNG. Like they
yeah.
are so Tuscans require a lot of investment in like mods and strategy and stuff too, but they're capping out at 2.7 million. Like they're hitting the max.
Mhm.
Jawas aren't. Like the best case scenario for Jawas is 1.5 right now.
Okay. Yeah.
They're the
So
fifth best team.
yeah, and this is one of the big reasons why, like before the raid even came out, I was like, hold your brakes, don't invest into anything because we don't know how they're going to perform. And it sucks. I would be upset if I invested into the Tuscans thinking that would be cool at R3. You have to go to R7. And it's not bad. Like it gives you a team that does pretty good damage once it's there at those relic levels. But if I didn't have those abilities to get it there, I'd be a little salty.
Yeah, the three that I'm like pretty going to be gung ho on getting them to R7, R8 is going to be Hut Cartel, Mandos,
Yeah.
and Tuscans. I don't think I can do I can't do Jawas, and
Yeah.
I probably can't do Old Republic either because it looks like the team that's getting there is like Mission and Zalbar, and I mean they're just going to do absolutely nothing for me outside the raid. And I mean, maybe Tarful
Zalbar's
changes
dope.
that in
Zalbar
six
is
months.
dope.
Like, where am I going to? I guess I can put him on a Dash team, and Dash will
Mhm.
perform exactly the same. Like that's
Yeah.
like I don't know. I would much rather work on Leviathan or Cal requirements than do Zalbar.
It just hurt my heart. I got a relic Zalbar. Zalbar is really, really clutch in like GAC because you could put it on the dash team and it performs the same. And so it allows you to move out L3 to other teams. So like because of this crazy comp with Ray, you can put it with Ray and not have the consequences of not having somebody to kind of guard them out there. But I feel you though. If you're okay with what you have right now, and it's not something that's super bugging you, it's probably not worth it. But Mission for sure. Like I don't know where I would put her.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many like things that are going in and out of the raid team right now too. I mean, it's
Yeah, and
I don't need
temporary
Zalbar
stuff.
to make or break it. Like we've got
Yeah.
Cal, we've got Zori, we've got Ben. Like there's constantly good stuff going in
Yeah.
and out of the raid team. So, and the other ones I'm like Hut Cartel. I
Yeah.
should probably have them R8 anyways. Like that's something I should have. I had someone actually beat my Java team with an Afra this week, so that kind of sucked. Um,
Yeah.
And 3v3 of all things too, which I thought would be harder, and they pulled it off. I need to change out my Javacron though. That was the problem. And then Mandalorians, I'm already halfway there. Bam and Maul are both already R7. And then Tuskens will actually be a harder bullet to bite.
Yeah. Yeah. You have the Omicron on Kersentin or no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's one that I really want at R9, and I know like R8 you're cool for the raid, but like I really really want him at R9, and it doesn't make sense for the raid too because he just dies for me. I don't know if you go for the strat where he comes back, but for me he just dies.
No, I like him to come back because I've one of the things that's been important for my runs is I actually, this is very kind of awkward. I have to get disarm on the Crate Dragon, otherwise I don't do well.
Yeah. I get the disarm, but he just doesn't come back.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. I've been working on right now. It's been mostly Crate Raid stuff. And then, I mean, Afro will be here the next week. So I guess probably in the last month, I've probably done Sana and 000. I'll probably take them both to R5 or whatever.
Yeah. No, I got to start doing that too. Like Sana's going to be interesting what I do with her. Any plans for GAC for Sana?
Nope, she's not doing anything. There are a handful of teams that have been. I realize for some people they're good, but for mine, like nearly 10 million roster, like Sorty and Sana, if they don't have a data card, they're not playing. And they're not playing, I'm not investing in them. So she's not gonna get anything. She might get, I think she has mods. She can have mods, but she's not getting any Rosetas, and I'm not gonna build up any of the team around her like Stormtrooper Han.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm at too. Like maybe I'll do some play in 3v3, but in 5v5, nothing.
No, I have not been impressed. I don't think I've ever had a Sana team hold against me, and the things that I'm beating them with aren't that expensive. It's been like Wampa and Bad Batch.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
Even when she had her Kron, she was not challenging.
Yeah, even in the back wall too. Like it's got to pack a little bit more of a punch nowadays, especially in 5v5. In 3v3, maybe you get away with it, but no. In 5v5, you definitely no play.
Yeah, so she's probably not seeing the light of day, and I'm probably not doing Sortier in T3 anytime soon either.
I have them.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're to a point where we have all these kind of B-level teams, and if you have the Datacron, Trench, this really sucks too, because I put a lot of investment in Trench. Trench is going to be the same way. As soon as his Datacron's gone, he's going to join the ranks with them, which is really sad because they're like marquee characters.
Yeah, and it's funny how like the new characters are like that. Like I feel like if you were gonna invest heavy, you go for like the old characters because they were good on like standalone value. Where these new characters are very, very like
Datacron dependent,
yeah, like depending on
Zora's kind of really she's pretty broken for a new character without a Datacron.
Yeah, but it's like how many of those new characters are like Zori? Not that many.
Yeah, I don't know. So the Marin might be there too. Marin and Zori, and then I don't know, but yeah, I've not seen enough on Tarful. Seer has a really busted comp in 3v3 with Starkiller, but she does need an Omicron.
Yeah, the Omicrons, like I'm fine with giving those, but it's the teams that like require Datacrons, and then after the Datacrons, they just don't hit the same. I'd rather them hit way nicer without a Datacron, and then the Datacron just be that little nice cherry on top of it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Tilo, I think that means it's time for our podcast questions, which I don't think I actually properly marked where we stopped up in the last time, so hopefully we don't do any repeats.
We had two in chat too, if you want to start off with those.
Oh yeah, you start with those.
All right, let me get those. I saw them. Nitro had one. Nitro from YouTube, and I'll put it on the screen right there. It says, which thematic raid do you... Oh, I should have changed the color because I can't see. Let me see. Which thematic raid do you think CG is going to release next? And I think we covered this one, but what do you think?
Xylo Beast is number one on my list, and that's me being kind of a Clone Wars junkie, and I think they could hit several factions, of which none hit here. Like it could be Separatist, it could be Galactic Republic, it could be Jedi,
Bad Batch.
Yeah, or they probably get wrapped into the Galactic Republic, or maybe they could do like split up the Galactic. They could do Bad Batch or clones or something like that. It's weird now that I think about it. Yeah, Bad Batch are a subdivision of a subdivision, or a subfaction of a subfaction. Yeah, because Galactic Republic holds all of them. Clones are. Oh no, they're not, because Omega is in Galactic Republic.
That is so weird. Like, I feel like she
could have been.
Yeah,
she could have been. That's a very weird design choice.
Yeah, but there's other characters too, like Asajj Ventress, for instance. Like her not having the Sith tag when Savage does, it always threw me off too. Like
I kind of agree. Like that one works in a really weird way because Savage was technically a Sith through Maul's line, which was even recognized by Sidious as a rivalry. Whereas Asajj was not a part. Like the Rule 2 is supposed to exist, and she's not a part of it.
But she is though. Like Sidious legit tells Dooku, he's all like, "Your apprentice is getting strong. Like, cut this mess out. Like, she gotta go. Like, are you trying to overthrow me? Like, it's time to let her go." Like, Sidious okayed that he had an apprentice. Like, she is a part of the Sith. I don't know. Like,
I don't think she is. I mean, I guess she's a Sith. I think what was her actual title? Sith assassin.
Yeah, like she's still considered a Sith. I don't know. I feel like she should have the tag. Obviously, now with Merrin too, like we probably wouldn't use her in the Sith lineup anyways, so it doesn't really make sense for them to go up in there. But it's another one like Omega. I feel like it's missing.
All right, so Xylo Beast is the big one. I always thought the Bull Rancor from Starkiller would be pretty cool. Like I guess they could do like unaligned Force users or something versus that.
There's a couple that we could do from Mando too. Like you could have the Mudhorn. You could have the new ones from the new season, the Dragon, even the crocodile turtle thing.
Yeah.
I think those would be really cool options as well. I think that crocodile turtle dragon you can even do like as a 2-phase too to kind of spice things up a little bit.
I'm trying to think of like something from. There's got to be something from the original trilogy that isn't Jabba. I wonder if they could do a Sarlacc.
A Sarlacc would be kind of crazy too, but I don't know. Like it's not as visual. What would be really cool too is Starkiller. You could do Force Unleashed. There's a couple of monster or beasts in there. You got the Bull Rancor, and then you also have that in what was it? The second Force Unleashed 2, that really, really big monster beast thing. It was in the thematic trailers. Like it's ginormous. Like you see a Rancor like in the beginning, it's not even as big as its foot.
What was the second question to you, though?
Second question is from C Money, talking about if is PvP dead. So, what are your feelings on that? And I know that's the question that's been going around.
It's not dead. Like you can't just not sign up for a GAC NTW and expect to have the same rewards. But I do understand. I understand where this question is coming from. The question is coming from the fact that right now the way that the matchmaking for both TW and GAC, which are our PvP game modes, are set up is for that you can only win a certain amount, and then they will start matching you up against people that are so much higher against you that you have to lose, which kind of it hurts the progression of it, or really what it hurts is the incentive. I don't know if this is a word. Incentivization of it, because the point that I was making beforehand, where I know instantly that if I apply R8 to my Hut Cartel, I am immediately going to hit the next threshold for rewards. I could apply for GAC Omicrons right now, and there is absolutely no guarantee I do any better in the slightest this next GAC. And even if I do, all that will do, like let's say I win like 8 out of 9, like this time. I got 7 out of 2 last time. I do a little bit better. I got 8 out of 9. That advantage goes away the next time. I go back to 4 and 5 or 5 and 4. Like I don't, you don't put 4 GAC Omicrons and now every single week that goes by you're doing better. You only got better that one time, and now you're in a new threshold where you're gonna eventually lose again and drop down, and yeah, you're gonna be stuck. So it's not dead, but from a reward incentivization point of view, yeah, it makes a lot more sense to go, especially if you're in Kyber 1, which is very few people, but I guess I would label that maybe enough to Kyber 3. Even if you're as high as that, it makes a lot more sense right now to go after real concrete rewards. And really, man, so raids definitely, because they're so constant, but like there's probably even a decent argument for like some of the TB special missions. They're going to constantly feed you 50 get currency every single time it happens.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you too. I feel like the rewards need to be bumped up a little bit. And I'm recently biased because I just listened to the Gambit podcast. They brought out a good suggestion, putting Omicrons in there instead of Zetas. I don't know if they would want to do it after every match or do it like the old school way, depending on where you place at the end of the week. I think that would probably be a lot better.
I don't know if that fixes the problem though, because you're not, like, let's say you're high up enough on the leaderboard, you're not going to have to try harder. You're still going to end with your 5 and 4. It's really, and I like the matchmaking for a lot of reasons, but it's really a matchmaking problem because you can't, different from the old system, you can't go 12 and 0. Like the system is built for you always to lose.
Yeah. I don't know what you do. It's like, do you go back to the old school matchmaking? Like, and it wasn't fair.
No, honestly, that would be, yeah. So I don't know what the answer is, but
yeah, because
the rewards, quite frankly, are good. Like the amount of crystals we get through GAC is huge. There's just no variance.
I wonder if they do it in chunks. Like I know we get matched up with whoever is exactly next to us, those 8 people. But I wonder if they open up the matchmaking process and put it within the X50 and at random, it kind of swooshes up between those. And I know you might run into the same situation, but at least it gives you a little bit of a mix of those people in there. I don't know if that even helps, to be honest, because it's so small of a sample.
Well, I mean, wouldn't fix anything. But what I originally had actually envisioned for the new matchmaking system before we even got it, like before it was even announced that we were getting one, was I thought they were going to do is it'd be similar to now, but instead of constantly having your rankings change, is wherever you start at the very beginning, you would take that grouping of I don't remember the exact math. It was something like 128 people. It was higher than that. Well, like just that number, and then don't have an 8-person bracket of winners and losers. Have like 128 or again whatever the number is. And that's your whole month of 9 matches until you have one victor of that. And I don't know. That doesn't fix anything we're talking about. I just thought that'd be cool.
I like that though. Instead of like the big leaps and bounds that you can do within a week, like you go pretty ham, you go 3 and 0 in the week, like it jumps you up super high up there, and then it's almost like you're definitely going to take some beating when you hit that 3 and 0 in that first week. So I don't know. I kind of like that, where it kind of screenshots you exactly where you are whenever you start GAC. And then from there, it would kind of like adjust where you need to be that next season. So I think I like that a lot.
The only people that like super screws is if you miss sign up, which I guess they could just make sign up automatic. They could. And then everyone who is playing, they're going to run out of those guys real quick. But
yeah, and you're gonna drop to the bottom regardless, you'll
drop to the bottom, yeah. And I mean that's the people who don't play are gonna end up there anyways. Because there's plenty of people who are GAC players right now who are doing one battle and piecing out.
Yeah, a lot of people are. So I don't know. I don't know. It's just a hard system they would have to fix, you know. But I think overall, I do like the system, and do like the way PvP is. Like, it's going to reward those people that have more stuff in their roster, and for those who don't, you have to learn. You have to adapt. You got to be on your A game, because if you don't have the physical materials, it's about strategy at that point to go as high as you can with your rosters and your mods and exactly everything that you have on it. It just takes time. And again, you'll probably be that Icarus moment where you go too close to the sun, but going up to the highest you can, it feels good. I know when I was in the 200s for a little bit, I was happy, you know. I think I was the most hype about the game right there. That you go down, you fall really, really down, all the way down to K2. And I don't know, I feel a little bit bummed after that. But then once that climb starts happening again, you get a little hyped again.
Yeah. So is PvP dead? No, but they probably need to do something about the incentivization of it.
Honestly, I think they need to expand the board too. I think that would spice things up in GAC a lot too. I know it's more time, and
that would go back to our other problem though.
Yeah, it definitely more time, but I really think they need to. If you're going to constantly introduce these new characters and we don't have room to use them, like we just talked about with Asana, you know, we should make her relevant, make her a viable option, probably in a back zone somewhere. Like, she is a new character, and just the way things are just squished in together, there's no way you're going to end up using teams like that.
I'm kind of okay with it. I'm kind of okay with Sana not being used. Like, she can. She really farming Sana was just me farming Afro. I guess like that's.
Yeah.
But because Hondo's great, and then
Hondo's
the droids
awesome.
are good under Afro. So
Yeah.
the marquee of leveling up Sana was just. I mean, it was. I think that's the way a lot of people saw JTR way back in the day. Like, the vets weren't good, but it was essentially just a really expensive JTR node that you were farming.
I like the vets though. Like, Han Solo is pretty dope, vet Han. But I don't know if I ever want to put the resources into to make him OP.
Nope.
All right, next question then. All right, so Doofine says, do you fight 100 pork-sized Wookiees or 1 Wookiee-sized pork?
I think I take the 100 pork-sized Wookiees.
Yeah,
man. I just don't know, like what are the other conditions for the fight here? Like, am I a Jedi? Do I have like a lightsaber or a blaster? Like, I kind of would like to know the conditions, but like if I just have my hands, I'm not killing a 1 Wookiee-sized pork. Like, that's. I don't think I can choke it out. And if it wants to kill me, it's probably going to kill me. Whereas if I'm trying to do it with 100 porg-sized Wookiees, I mean, I can probably throw them pretty far. Like,
yeah, but that's like,
and probably from a high enough height to kill them. And then I just don't try to fight them all at once, and I start picking them off in pairs of 2s or something like that. So. I mean, I'll probably get super scratched up because they're probably gonna gnaw and try to rip my fingers off or whatever when I grab them. But again, if the porg wants to kill me, I don't think I can mitigate that at all.
I think you die from the 100 pork-sized Wookiees. Like, if you think about it, it's 100 monkeys running at you, and they can jump. Like, we've seen it in the movies.
They're hand sized though, and they wouldn't be. I mean, they could probably climb me, but they can
Porgs
jump.
Are pretty big. They're
I can outrun them.
Porgs are about this big, right? Maybe give or take. That's all. That's a decent sized monkey. No, I don't know, and they're strong too. And I know their strength goes down.
I don't think they'd be that strong though.
I don't know. If they jump you, it's a problem. I don't know, Calvin. They might jump you into their gang. I don't know. Those
there's other factors here too, though. Am I in enclosed space? Because again, I can outrun I can outrun 100 Wookiees. Like I can do
I
that.
don't know, man. I don't know. I
They're
think
like this big. There's no way that
they are
something
not
with
that.
2-inch
They're decent
legs
size.
can
Like
like. I mean, unless they're like chickens, I don't think they're gonna, or they're running as fast as chickens. I don't think they're out doing it.
I don't know, man. The only thing that scares me of the Porg is if it's Wookiee size and it can still fly. That's a little wild.
Oh, I did like it. I don't see how I beat it. And not only do I not see how I beat it, I don't see how I get away from it. Like I couldn't. I don't think I would actually be able to punch a Porg to death. If I have a blaster or a lightsaber, then I can probably manage something. But assuming like I have like no conditions, I have no allies, I have no resources. I mean, it's just gonna clobber me.
I think it's a lose-lose situation on that one.
I'd rather take the Wookiees.
I don't know. I think I'm going for the Porg. I'm probably gonna get squished. I think I'd rather just die right away than just like be ripped apart by 100 Wookiee-sized Porgs.
That is true. That the death from the Wookiees would be more painful because they wouldn't be able to kill you off immediately. They would be. I still think I can do it though. I think I can. I think I could take again the strategy of running away, and then they're not going to be all exact same speed. That's not how things work. A few of them are going to catch up at one point. I will kill them in whatever way I need to, and then the next two will come, and it'll be a long, tedious process. But I won't die. Again, I'll probably mess up my hands and whatnot, but
we're totally highlighting Emo's comment. He's all, you never see Jurassic Park 2 with the copies. I don't know. I think there would be that situation. I would be that little girl in the beginning of the Jurassic Park 2 where she's eating the sandwich.
Yeah. I would take my bet with that, but we'll see. Well, I guess we won't see because neither of those are really a real reality.
We could ask AI.
Those are a lot bigger than a Porg, though, and those have.
No way, they're about the same size. They definitely got to be about the same size.
Like you're talking from like head to tail, those things are like 2 feet long.
I'm talking about from tail to foot. About the same.
Well, I guess they're different though.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think Wookiees have that sharp of teeth.
They got.
And I don't think they would be that fast. Oh, and also he survived, so there's that.
Okay. Or what were your questions on your side?
Oh yeah. What do we got here? So Guernsey has one on here, who I think is currently actually in the chat too. So props on you on self-control. Does the new raid setup mean that farming the new? Oh, I need to make a video about this. I was thinking about this Thursday. Does the new raid setup mean that farming the newest GL is almost mandatory? Even players who are nowhere near having all the GLs, e.g., like for example, he only has 2, Jane Kane, Jabba. But Jabba has given me a disproportionate advantage almost every game mode compared to other GLs. I could have farmed, and that was before we saw Crate's contributions. So I have like a pretty solidified answer that again I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a video on. But what's your take on this? Like, how important is the new GL?
I think it's going forward. It's a must, and it's going to be one of those situations where you're going to want it as quickly as possible to recruit those assets that you use to get it. Like looking for Jabba, for instance. Like not only do you have the raid advantage, you have the mod advantage with that mission. There's and then GAC too. Like obviously, new GLs means a whole new set of powers in the power scale. So it's going to be a pretty good competitor when it comes to GAC, especially on defense. So yeah, I would definitely say it would be a must, and as soon as possible. I think that's the way CG's game plan has been since day one, all the way back from like Jedi Knight Revan. Like if you didn't have it, it's too bad for you. It sucked in Arena and then eventually in GAC. So we definitely knew Shiny when it comes to those GL titles, you'd need those.
Yeah, so I guess I'll make the first clarification. There's no, well, actually, you made a pretty good point though. I was gonna say there's no guarantee the new GL every single time is gonna be having the same effect that Jabba has right now, because Guernsey's the comment he makes in the question is Jabba is pretty much excelling in every game mode. The only game mode that Jabba is not good in is in fleets, and that's because he's not doing anything there. Every other single one, Conquest, TB, GC, and Territory Wars, and then obviously the raid, he's like top 3 GL in each one of those game modes or something like that. So very, very good. And then his entry cost isn't even that high with relic levels and whatnot. Like he beats out Lord Vader by a mile. So to answer the question, I don't think we can label all of them the same. Jabba is definitely that way if you have a developed roster. His other weakness that what you have when farming him is he does not fill out teams well, like not nearly as well as C or JML or even JMK does. But if you already have a lot of core teams, then yeah, like he's really good. But the thing that you said, I think doesn't scare me, but makes me lean towards the fact that the answer to the question is, does the new raid setup mean that farming the newest gel is almost mandatory? I think the answer is yes, because like you were saying with Jedi Knight Revan, whatever new is coming out, they're going to incentivize it. There's going to be a reason to get the new thing. And like even like outside of jails, we saw it with Inquisitors. Inquisitors ended up having, it was kind of a slow rollout, but they ended up having a ton of uses in a variety of different game modes. They're really important. In TW with GI's Omicrons, really important. JC with Reva's Omicrons, they've been really important several times. In Conquest, they have their own missions in TV. They're even good in Fleet right now. So yeah, is the new thing or new GL or new hotness always is going to be mandatory? The answer is yes.
And then if you think about it too, like today is the first day of me having a real Inquisitor team because I got a Reva. Like before that, they weren't a real team. I wasn't really able to do much when it comes to outside stuff. How much rewards did I miss? Like when it comes to assault battles, when it comes to all this other stuff that they were needed, even Conquest too. Like all those missions, like how much harder did I have to work to get the Conquest?
Yeah, less efficient you have to be because you can just go to the treasure nodes and do the purge or the whatever.
Yeah, like it sucked not having them. Like how much, like you end up spending more resources by not doing what CG wants you to do, and CG wants you to get that new hot shiny toy, and you have to be very selective because there's some characters that may not have that initial, I don't know, importance, aka like an Afra. Afra's good for GAC players, but nothing else. There's really nothing other benefit other than GAC. So, like, I don't know, like you have to pick and choose your spots, but it's very important to keep that mindful attitude when it comes to these new tunes that they bring out.
Yeah. So I need to make a video about because I've been getting a lot of comments of like, is Jabba the best first GL? And the answer is pretty nuanced, but in short, if you have a lot of your core teams developed, yeah, he is.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So going backwards here, something about Lakers winning. If a person wanted to learn more about Star Wars past the movies, what games, books, comics would you tell them to start with?
Oh my goodness.
That's kind of a long question.
All
right, Tila, give me one of each. One game, one book, and what comic?
Oh my gosh.
I'll think of mine.
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. I think game-wise, I would have to split it into two, like canon and not canon. Not canon, I would definitely say probably Knights of the Old Republic. I think it's a staple of a Star Wars fan. Like you definitely need that.
I was going to say the same thing. KOTOR is really important. It's for world building.
Yeah. Followed by, I would say, Force Unleashed because it's enjoyable. When it comes to canon games, we don't have that much story.
It's pretty much Fallen Order.
It's either Fallen Order or Battlefront 2. And I would give the edge to Fallen Order. I think it's going to have bigger implications than the Battlefront 2. So that would be that one. Book-wise, oh my goodness, I'm trying to think of one. If I only was able to read one book, that one
for me, it's pretty easy.
What would be yours if you have yours already?
Thrawn Trilogy.
Thrawn Trilogy is good. Oh my
Like
goodness.
to me, it's the king. Like that's the number one. If you're gonna do anything book related, unless you have a specific affinity with a certain character, that one beats it.
Yeah, that's the tough. I think that I don't know. Thrawn trilogy is good. Uh, oh, the question was to get a better insight on the movies, correct?
No, to learn more about Star Wars past the movie. So basically, what can help you learn about Star Wars that isn't a movie?
And I feel like Thrawn is so disconnected from the Star Wars universe in whole. Like if you were to change the characters, like it just sounds something completely different than Star Wars because it's outside of known space. Like it's in like wild
That's
space. Like
that's like his prequel trilogy. I would agree with that, but like his main line, like it's Empire, like Tarkin, Emperor, Palpatine, Vader, like they're
the
all
first
pretty
trilogy.
present.
The
Yeah,
first trilogy. But I don't feel like it has the
the
same
second trilogy is
implication.
really hard, actually, if you're not big on Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't know. Like this is that one's really hard. I'm trying to think of one that had like the most impact on canon. Um, I don't know. I'll think about that one. Maybe next podcast I'll have like a definitive answer. I'm thinking of like the from a certain point of view series, but it's like you don't really need those ones. And I love them
Those are
because you get
cool, but yeah, I wouldn't.
it's not like super impactful. I'm thinking of a story that like impacts everything else that would like be super strong that like I think is a must read. Um shoot. Yeah, I would definitely have to think about that one. And comic book wise, I think you would want to go with the main Star Wars line. There's a grip of issues now, and it almost leads into every existing comic book, like the Bounty Hunter wars. It led into there, like any main event. So the Star Wars line is going to end up hitting. So I would really suggest reading that one. There's times where it's not as strong as other times, but it has a little piece of everything. You're going to get the majority of the Star Wars characters are going to be introduced in there, and then if you like that character, you can look at their own solo comics. Like Afra gets introduced, not in there, but she's also
I
in
thought
there.
Abra was introduced. I was going to recommend Darth Vader's.
Darth Vader's, I think, for me, it's a superior line. Like that comic book
It's
series,
also a
like
little bit easier to handle in the main line.
yeah, but the main line covers everything. Like it goes from A New Hope all the way to Empire Strikes Back, and eventually is going to get into that Return of the Jedi. So I think if you're just want like a vanilla, you go Star Wars line. But if you're like a diehard Darth Vader head, then go Darth Vader. Like I think that one has really good information, even to the sequel trilogies too. So personal choice Darth Vader. I think vanilla choice Star Wars.
All right, sweet. What are your thoughts on the current landscape of Star Wars video games? If you could have a Star Wars game be made, what era and story would you want it to explore? Oh, okay.
Oh,
I've got mine.
easy. Easy too. You go first. I went first last time.
So this is wildly specific, but I would like a. So this will be like right before the prequel trilogy come out. This is actually probably about the time for those who watch Tales of the Jedi, the Dooku, him going out into all the universe. I would really like, and my first Star Wars video game that I ever played was Jedi Power Battles. It was on the PlayStation 1, and it was the Phantom Menace, and it was two-player. You could play one player, but it was two-player. You going kind of through the story of the Phantom Menace. What I would really like is something like that was preferably either multiplayer or kind of similar to KOTOR where you could have companions, where it's Dooku and Qui-Gon, and you're following some like master scheme going around on planets, essentially just being normal Jedi peacekeepers and kind of staying away a little bit from the corruption of the Galactic Republic, because that's not really a gripe. That's the one of the things that for me has already been explored enough of the down. Like I'm not really interested in the downfall of the Republic anymore. I've seen that a ton. Like Clone Wars has made that quite clear. Bad Batch did a pretty good job at it. Tales of the Jedi kind of drove it home. Like I want to see a little bit more what the Jedi and what the Republic were actually supposed to be doing, and rather than how did they collapse into the or grow into the Empire, however you want to word that. So that's what I would want.
Yeah, no, I think that would be That would be fun. I think I have a very similar game, but have you ever seen Destiny? Destiny at all? Played it?
I know of it. I'm honestly a terrible gamer. I do Star Wars.
I went into Destiny pretty hard. Like I really like that game. I love like the PvP. I love the gameplay aspect of it. The gunplay. It just feels really really nice. I would like a style like that in Star Wars. I want it to be open world. I want it to be online, so you see other people playing. You can have PvP. You can have the main story missions. You can have raids. I think that would be awesome. But set it in the Clone Wars and really just make it faction based too. So you would have like in Destiny, you have different classes you can play. You can play Hunter, you can play Titan, or you can play Warlock. So I think the base vanilla faction or classes I would pick would be Jedi, obviously because there's a ton of them in lore, bounty hunters, and say Mandalorians. And I know they have a little bit of crossover, but I think those three factions you start off with, they have different perks, they have different class abilities, different specials you could use. You can make it a little more customizable, customize your character. I think that would be really big too. Having vanity items like helmets, stuff from characters we already know in Star Wars. You can make microtransactions like that. I would go buck wild in a game like that. Anything to play with people online. Raids, I think, would be amazing when it comes to the Clone Wars era. You can have a raid where you go against Dooku as like the final boss. You can go against Admiral Trench. Like you have a ginormous array of different villains and characters you can go against, and you could do tons of DLCs to introduce new classes, Separatist class, all sorts of different things. I think they could really, really just rake up as much money as they wanted to with a game like that, especially for me.
All right, so we have another question. Has Whose Kid Is It Anyway been put on ice?
We just haven't had time.
That is the answer. And we're gonna run out of time today. I think we've been going for almost 2 hours now. We like it. There's nothing wrong with it. We have enough entries to go for quite a while with it, but we've just been missing too many shows where a lot of like really really relevant information is building up, and it's kind of the easiest thing to cut out. So I'm not saying it won't be back. It's definitely not canceled. But until we feel like we're at a place where we're caught up, or maybe we're like really low on information at a time, will it come back out?
And it was easier as a weekly podcast to do the Whose Kid Is It, because information doesn't drop as much. Even today, we're probably not going to be able to talk about Visions, like regular Star Wars stuff.
We aren't.
Let alone like stuff that's happening in game. So it's just tough. And when you look at things to like cut out, like it sucks, but it's like, whose kid is it, you know? And plus I suck at it, guys. Let's be real. Calvin whoops me so hard in that game. I'm okay with it. That's like...
No, I like the game, and again, like we'll maybe play again at some point. But yeah, Taylor hit the nail on the head too. Like we'd like to talk about Visions today too, and that's probably not going to happen. So,
no.
But I think looking back in here, trying to make sure we got all of them. We might. I can't remember the exact date we did the last one. I didn't do this properly last time. Yeah, we'll probably call it there. We might have to come back to some questions later. But yeah, Tilo, we've been going for almost about 2 hours now. Do you have anything else you would like to say, or anything you would like to cover? I don't think we missed any of our. Oh, I guess just if you want to summarize really quickly, how was your entire GAC season? Like, how was the 3v3 for you?
3v3, I went 6-3, so I lost one match every week.
Yikes!
So it wasn't too bad. But
I mean, 6-3 is a pretty ridiculous score. Like 5-4 is a win.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was okay. It wasn't that bad. I'm back into Kyber 1, so I'm skating the edge like always. So the goal is just to stay in Kyber 1 as long as possible. So I really got to step it up this 5v5 season. 5v5 seasons are where I really struggled, because people with bigger rosters, that's when you could really really take advantage. Where in 3v3, I can really spread out some of my teams and just use mechanics to really beat out people. And 5v5, less teams. I can't do death by 1,000 paper cuts. Like it's got to be death by a ginormous thing right in your face. And sometimes I just don't have the relics on the team to really hold people off on defense. So we'll see if Riva makes a difference, but I highly doubt it. I feel like there's going to be a lot more people with her. So it's going to kind of be like one of those situations where it just equals everything out.
Gosh, I hope there isn't a lot more people with her.
I think we're going to see a big
right.
boom.
Like I can hope all I want. That doesn't change reality.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully this season I'll be happy with like a 5-4, as long as I stay positive in the record, and we'll see if that's even enough to keep me in Kyber 1.
Hey, I'm kind of stalking your roster right now. Just so I don't know if you're aware of this, and maybe you are, and this is just unnecessary, but you have a broken set on Malgus.
Yeah, so I was playing a lot with mods recently. Like if you look at my roster, there's tons of missing mods. That's just because of the raid. So
okay.
yeah, I was putting. If you look at
your guest doesn't even have all mods on.
Yeah, so if you look at Lando's speed is like dumb fast for Lando right now. I think he's like 320 something.
326. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, they're all broken. And then Riva came into the game too. So I wanted to make her mod set all nice. So I basically have to do a whole re-roster or remodding on my account, which is fun. I like doing those.
Sweet. Yeah, my season was actually it was really good too. I was a little bit surprised actually, and I'm sure I'll have a really kind of like you're saying in 5. So I'll have a very rude awakening. I went 7-2, which I wasn't really aware that was still possible in the new system. I must have just been doing bad because I'm now close to where I've been for like my record breaking. I've been very rarely been. I think I've been up this high like 2 or 3 times. But I'm back there, and now on top of that,
you're back in the 200s?
I'm sorry, what?
You're back in the 200s around there?
300 around there, yeah. But I've got to be the only one within a mile without Reba, so that's gonna be a really rude awakening.
That just means Treya's coming for offense.
Yeah, well, yeah, most certainly.
But that's awesome.
It was a really good season. I'm trying to remember if there's like any like really big things that I feel like I learned throughout it. Starkiller's Kron or Mara J's Kron pretty much makes sure all of Ray's Krons look like garbage. Oh, also, for anyone wondering, in 3v3, the old Resistance Kron is significantly better than Ben's. Like I was going through and just like on a practical level, it was really, really good. But I looked up the statistics with Insight, and like there was a big variance of win losses between the Resistance Krons and the Ben Solo Krons.
That's what I wanted to ask you. We probably I don't even know if we have enough time, but the Insight, like I'm really, really interested in that, but it looks awesome.
Oh, it's a stupid good tool. And someone made a comment in the chat on one of my Twitch streams, and I think they made a pretty good point. They were like, this is a really good tool, but if you don't know what you're looking for, it's probably not it's just that it's a tool. It's only going to be as good as the person who's pushing in the numbers and knows that you're looking for specific things like a Datacron or an Omicron or a bare minimum relics level. There does require a certain amount of expertise, I guess, for it to be really valuable.
So, and this is the Swoga.gg, like the new thing they introduced, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how much was it? Like a month? It's like $5 right now?
I don't know if they've changed it yet, but it's a $10 entry for it.
$10?
Yeah, you have to be at least a $10 Patreon to have access to it.
Okay. And then didn't they say it was discounted for the first couple of months?
Yeah, their beta, it was open for, I don't know, like a $3 thing or something.
Yeah.
We're not sponsored by them, by the way,
but it looks like an awesome tool.
It's probably So from a content creator perspective, I might actually spend money on it. Like for those of you who know, I've never spent a dime in relation to this game other than like content creator stuff like a computer and computer was GoFundMe. Thank you everyone for that. But like lights and camera and stuff like that. Like I've never actually spent money on any even Galaxy of Heroes or Galaxy Heroes tool. I'm strongly considering it because it gives you so much nuanced data that is like the biggest thing that I'm looking at right now. I don't even want to mention it because it's such a good idea. In fact, I probably won't. But there are some ways that you can find out data to be able to put videos together that are worth more to me than the entry level cost is to get it. Like it's stupid good.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I'm looking at it. I probably won't get it, but I'm like, I need somebody to make like a bootleg version of this, and then I can take advantage of this. I'm looking at you, kid. Make it on GAC Science. Let me have a free version of this.
Nah, it's if you're like down with spending money on hot utils or whatever, like this is
yeah. Over hot utils.
It's probably the same level. Well, I guess it depends on how into GAC you are. If you're into GAC, it's like the same level of worth, if not better. Like it's stupid good.
Yeah, I 100% say this is way better than hot utils. Like if you were gonna do that, like this would be way
hot
better.
Utils. But the great thing about hot utils is I use hot utils for like 4 different things. Like that's my bronziums, that's my mod management, that's my conquest tracker. And they have a kind of a connection thing with SWH gear that kind of helps you track your farming. So it's useful for a lot of things, but it's not the same for as GAC, I guess.
Yeah, I like you said, if I think your focus is GAC, this is the one to get. This is pretty dope. Let me get a free version. I'll be the sponsor.
Just to respond to our chat here. Lord Vader does poorly against Seer Starkiller. We went out the very hard way. He literally Starkiller one shot not only my Maul, but he one shot my Lord Vader. But to be fair to my opponent, I was up against a guy named Overcast. He's actually pretty frequent on a lot of like Discords. Dude, he had the best setup of that team, I think, literally possible. His Datacron was cracked. He had all the Omicrons. They were high relics. He had really seen good mods, but it did some really dumb stuff. And then I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Leipana. To plug the trivia guy. So there is currently right now several videos of SWH trivia going around right now, and there's a creator. His name is Yukes Maru. I believe his channel is Yukes Trivia on YouTube. If you want to check that out, he's got some pretty good stuff. Yukes, that's spelled YEWKS. You can find his channel. You can find some cool things. I tagged everyone when he did the first video that me, Sanjita, and Star Wars Dad were a part of. I tagged everyone on the server, and I think I left it up for a month or something like that. But he just recently did a new one with Zareth, and he's got 3 out total now.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to check that out. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but you might. Someone on the most recent one might be way more in their game than you think they are.
Oh, looking at the phone?
No. Like they're like really on the ball, but like they know significantly more than you might think they would have.
Ooh, okay. I'm excited. This is what I'm gonna do after the Laker game. I'm gonna check that out.
Oh yeah. All right, so I think we're like well over our time, and I've ran out of my 60 or 70 battles to sim. So, J-Lo, do you have anything you'd like to say before we peace out?
Yeah, if the Lakers win, hit up Zareth and say "Go Lakers."
That'd be really funny. I'm sure he'll enjoy that immensely.
Oh yeah.
All right. And his following's I think is a little bit bigger than ours is. It's a lot bigger than ours is. So if he wants revenge on you, enjoy.
It's gonna suck if they win the series.
Yeah. It is. All right. But until the next time, guys, thank you for watching. And as always, stay mad awesome.
Oh shoot, guys. I was totally gonna raid into Endo.
Oh, there you go.
Oh gosh, a little late. No, 1990, right? Yes,
I think so.
I believe so. Um, shoot. Let's see if it works. I might have to go into the regular chat. Now let me try this
Yeah, I'm
again.
only seeing it on YouTube. Are we still live on YouTube then?
Yeah, we're live on both of them right now. Hold on.
Oh, sweet.
Read
Calvin and Tilo After
channel.
Dark.
Ando 1990. All right, there you go. There's the raid. So everybody, let's go right into Ando.
Peace out, Bro
In
Scouts.
3, 2, and 1. All right, cool. All right, man. All right, let's exit this.
Bye, Felicia.